I've come across a few different brokers who kind of like niche down into, certain verticals. I mean, is what's your experience? Like, okay, so do you like work with a franchise? It sounds like you kind of like work with a franchise, Mara. Or I mean, what's your experience, you know, um, or what's the difference in experience from working with a franchise niching down or kind of just being all around broker? Um, what are kind of like the pros and cons of each, if you don't mind?
Um, I, I was clinical for 100 years and moved into capital equipment sales for Patterson Dental, which was a distributor. And there's a technology that they sold that I've been using since 2002. And I kind of created a niche where I was training practices on this technology. And this is kind of a roundabout way, but I promise I'll get back to your question. So in doing that, I realized I knew eventually I wasn't going to be clinical. And so Patterson, in 2015 came to me and said, "Hey, we need a salesperson. Would you want to sell the equipment?" Right. And this equipment it's a, just so you guys all know, it's digital equipment. So if you ever have had a dental crown and then you've had a temporary put on, so you're running around with this temporary that's like falling off, it's sensitive, all these things. The technology that I sold would scan the tooth, mill the crown, and seat it in the same day. So for those of you who haven't had a crown, may not sound amazing, but this is pretty, it's a pretty amazing procedure for patients because they only have to come in once. They don't have to come in twice, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, I started doing that and then sold that equipment and digital radiographs for about 10 years and then realized I wanted to kind of do my own thing, have my own business. And I didn't want to do consulting because I really don't like dealing with the staff, especially these days. As you know, selling businesses, it's a whole different animal. And so a bunch of my pals from Patterson Dental had left to buy their franchises from Thad Miller. And because I was already in dentistry, I had so many years of relationships. I just knew I wanted to stay in dentistry. So it wouldn't make sense for me to move in to just selling businesses where I didn't have, the relationships. And so I bought the franchise for Washington, Alaska. And, because I'm in dentistry already and I like it because we share a lot of expenses. For example, I don't know if you guys pay to have your technology protected, but uh, from a standpoint of paying a company that monitors all of my devices, my phone, everything. And if there's anything that ever needs, I have background software that's constantly running. If I was to do that on my own, it'd probably be $1,000 a month. And I pay like $200 a month because we revenue share. And we have one website. We have dedicated people that work on certain things. So I like the franchise model. It does kind of stink because you have to pay. Um, I don't have to pay a royalty, um, but some franchises you have to pay a royalties forever. However much you make, you have to pay a royalty. I don't have to, um, but I like it for the fact that I have teammates across the nation. If I don't know the answer to something, which, as you know, there's questions all the time, I can call any of these guys and, you know, they'll pick up the phone and I have resources at my fingertips. So I just love having the additional resources. I love not having to spend all the money on the expenses. Um, I love having the national reach. I mean, we have a lot of dental shows that are 15 grand a year, or
Mm.
15 grand just to be there for 3 days. And we share all of those expenses. The Pacific Northwest Dental Conference is 5 grand and I pay that on my own. But, you know, if we had a larger one that was 20 grand, then all of us would kind of chip in. If it was, maybe like the ADA was coming to Seattle, then we would all chip in.
That's
But
awesome. I really, really kind of appreciate that insight. One of my first clients, he's in a national franchise for business brokers, and I've heard good and bad things about it, obviously, like in different verticals and all that. So I definitely, definitely appreciate that insight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, have an attorney look over the contracts. On the veterinary side, Thad got smart. So if you buy into the veterinary side, then you do have a royalty. So I probably won't be buying the franchise for the vet side. I'll probably just find somebody who knows vet and hire them, bring them on, and then do my own thing. So now that I kind of know how it all works. Yeah, happy to answer any franchise questions. I don't know how all of you guys do it without the network that or the team that I have set up. I don't know how you guys do this all on your own.
Well, I mean, I think depending on who you're with, you know, you're not necessarily all on your own. So um, there are, like I work with people all over the country, and so even though it's not a franchise, EXP Commercial is a corporation, but so we don't have territories per se. We can sell wherever, but yeah, it's nationwide, and so we can reach out and partner with people all over the country, which is awesome. We
That's
do that.
something that's something that I want to get better at is utilizing the resources for EXP because I really just use EXP so I can run my business. I don't use any of the resources to do marketing. So I don't even really know where to go. If I have a listing where I can post it on EXP, you know, things like that.
Yeah, yeah. It is. There are a lot of things out there. I mean, I think when they switched from Workspace over to Slack, um, I don't go into Slack nearly as much as I probably should, but there's definitely tools available, things out there, and ways to communicate with other brokers. And so.